Yo, this is Chris, aka Chris Can Shoot, aka Disciple PKI from Sofa Sessions with Chris. You're tuned into my good buddy, the guy who kicked it all off, the Sip Sip Show, the one show that's gonna touch your soul and make you cry. Betul deh, serius, menangis bagus.
Hey, what's up? This is the Sip Sip Show podcast, I think. Yeah. We're still in transition of me trying to get a hang of this podcast word thing. Because I never planned to make a podcast. It just so happened that I wanted to document my friends, my circle, my community around where it's... Have you seen Humans of New York?
Yes.
Yeah, so I wanted to do that.
I have.
I wanted to do this geography or sejarah tempatan di kawasan perumahan saya. So I'm like, if I can document this and show it to my daughter, there's water there.
It's fine, thank you.
And if she can use this as some kind of a reference in the future, and what I gerigitan, I think, is because Sabah has only 1 or 2 pages in our history page in the buku text.
Sad
So
kan?
yeah, so this is like my initiative to document the people around, so it can be like a local history thing. True enough, like a few students used this podcasting as reference in UMS. So I'm like,
There you
this
go.
is something.
There you go.
So I continue on to do this. So you're watching the Sip Sip Show podcast. My name is Egan. Ate and Ahmad are busy with
Life.
keluarga thing. So we are with, let me do the intro. He is hotelier, and then how you say, a gym, a professional gym enthusiast.
More like entrepreneur now.
Entrepreneur, yeah.
The enthusiast, I kind of put it on the shelf for now. Look at me. I got a lot of people who ask me, Ben, kau kurus sudah sekarang? Yes, I'm kurus sudah because I have not been working out for the past...
Intro belum habis, panjang ni. And then hotel, how you say this? Connoisseur or reviewer. What do you do in hotels? Like, you do a lot of things.
I used to be a hotelier. I know a lot of things in and out about hotels. That's why when I do my content, when it's about hotels or F&B places in these hotels, I know these places in and out because I was one of them. I was a waiter. I was a person that worked in laundry. I was a housekeeper. I was a manager. I was at the front desk.
Tidak boleh tipu
So
lah ni.
ini tidak boleh tipu punya. Betul-betul tidak boleh tipu. So when I talk about hotel experience in KK, it is never sugar-coated. It is as it is. So
Okay, let's save this.
yeah.
And then professional MC, masters of ceremony. Oh, that one is. I find this job very, very hard.
This job came by accident, which we will tell and
Yeah. And then a presenter in VFM at first.
Sabah
And-
VFM, yes, I
And
was there.
then KK12 FM.
Sadly, the radio station closed. I'm still sad about it though, but it's okay. That's why we have you, and we're able to.
This is far from KK12. Oh my god. And now, okay, presenting Ben Uzair.
Thank you, Egan.
Thank you for saying yeah. We've been planning this even before COVID.
I am going to take my phone and I'm going to pull your name and I'm going to give you the exact date that you actually asked me for an interview.
But
and
tahun
it is, yes. See, I'm scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. Okay, I'm scrolling, and I remember it was during COVID. You know, mana sudah tu? I swear to God, we've been in touch for so long, you
Yes.
know, Egan. We know each other for the longest time. Even during my radio years, I remember you suggesting people, hey Ben, do you have a slot for this person, that person? And being a person who yang selalu in advance I plan ka. I never do things like off the bat macam begitu kan.
Yeah.
It's like, sorry Egan, like I really want to interview this person, but you know, la 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 la. So all of that, you know, not so pleasantries, but pleasantries indeed.
it's okay.
And
I was just trying.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. So you asked me to. You actually not interviewed me. You requested for an interview. Oh, tidak lama yang dahulu 2022 pula. And then 2022. I'm not kidding you, but there was a time that you asked me before and then tidak jadi.
Yes,
but
betul.
it was because of this.
Yeah. Oh yes.
I think it was your daughter who caught
the
COVID.
whole
Yeah.
family.
And I remember that. And actually, if I recall, it was because of your experience kena COVID that something art related that you came up with something. Macam saya pula yang interview kau ni tau.
It's okay. It's okay. Shout out to Nis from Kupi Kupi. Ini macam kau juga nih. But this was fun. This is gonna be funner. Okay. Let's go back to the time when you were in Nashville.
Oh gosh.
I heard the professional side. I heard the technical side of why you were there. How did it felt being in a place where it's foreign from your culture, from your weather? What was it like?
I love Nashville. I was there for 11 years. It kind of felt good to be different. You know, I'm not your typical Malaysian who would go and study overseas and the only people that you would hang out with are your own Malaysian friends. Kalau saya lah macam begitu kan, bagus study di sini saja because the whole point of you going overseas is to immerse yourself with the foreignness of things, you know. Now, tidak juga lah kita mau jadi terpencil, you know, like you still need that comfort, you still need that something that is familiar. Of course you want to berdamping sama any Malaysian friends ka siapa-siapa, but the problem is I don't have any Malaysian friends
there?
in Nashville. I was alone. So how did I ended up there? I went there as an intern for one of the hotels. I was there for 18 months. This was back in year 2000. And this happened just before 9/11 happened. So year 2000, May year 2000, I was there. And then 9/11 happened in September 2021, just as I was about to end my internship then. Now, in the hotel that I was working at before, it was all Americans. I was in the housekeeping department for a good 9 months. And a lot of them are Jamaicans. A lot of them are interns like myself. A lot of the managers are from different countries around the world. So it kind of felt like a little Geneva there. You know, so you have different people from different backgrounds. A few Americans. And then I moved up to the front desk. Then I met more Americans, not just as my colleagues, but also the people who are checking in. So for the first 18 months that I was in the States, I was basically macam orang sana saja. You know, I'm just like one of them. I speak like them. I don't have that accent anymore. It feels very awkward to bring the American accent back here. So, but one of the things that I always wanted to do is assimilate. Make sure that you blend in. You don't want to stick out like a sore thumb, you know, like nanti you get all these awkward conversation like, kau dari mana? Where are you from? You know, oh, Malaysia, is that, you know, I don't like sitting down and explain where I'm from, that sort of thing. It's just like very on the surface punya conversation, but and I don't like small talk, to be honest with you. Like, can we talk about like macam, you know, deeper things, you know, like, that's about your family. I want to learn more about you. I'm always curious about people. So yeah, the foreignness is something that I've immersed myself for 11 years. All my friends are American. I pretty much adopted by an American family from my former partner. So, and you know, I know his friends, his circle, and then that's how your friendship, grows and all of that. But yes, I don't have a single Malaysian friend when I was in Nashville. So that I guess I was thinking much differently,
Okay.
apart from like maybe if a person were to go and study there, then obviously comfort would be being together with other Malaysian friends, university mates, and that sort of thing. Yes, I went to school too in Nashville, but sadly, I was the only Malaysian there because it's one of those smaller universities that
Oh.
that they don't promote the university over here, and it's not like Vanderbilt, which is in Nashville, and Ivy League. They have a great engineering program. A lot of people yang dapat scholarship dari Petronas, they go there. Khairul Aming, that's
Oh.
a great example of a person who graduated from Vanderbilt, but we know what he's doing now. So he was there when I forgot. I think I left, and then he was there. So he's an Ivy League graduate. So yeah. So begitulah, I'm familiar with foreigners, and I'm fine with that.
You mentioned 9/11.
Yes.
How was things with you, like post that event? Did anything?
Oh yes, a lot. 9/11, on the day that it happened, I was working at the front desk.
Oh.
So and funny enough, so 9/11 2001 was a Tuesday. That weekend before 9/11 happened, on that Friday, I was in New York City. We were actually walking around Lower Manhattan, and I saw those two buildings with my own eyes. And one of the biggest regrets that I ever had in my life was not
Was that the picture you posted?
I think I have a photo of
Yeah.
it somewhere. I was wearing my glasses, and my
Yeah,
hair
yeah,
was
yeah.
all spiky, and we were on one of the ferries because we wanted to.
Yeah, the ferry, yes,
yeah.
yes, yes.
And then right behind is the Twin Towers. So it happened on that weekend. I was actually sending my partner together, his mom, for a cruise on that particular day, and I decided to just fly into New York to be with them, and. Sadly, that was the final weekend of the two Twin Towers, the World Trade Center, as they called it. So yeah, then fast forward, Tuesday, news happened. I went to work, covered my shift. Sadly, I was at the front desk, and because of my command in English, they decided to put me at the concierge. And you can see a huge, long line of people demanding, I want to be on the next flight. And if we recall, on that particular day, after the fourth plane crashed, I forgot if it was at the Pentagon or somewhere in the
Yeah,
middle of
Pentagon, yeah.
Shanksville. So that was the fourth plane, right? That crashed. Then immediately FAA said, we ground all flights, ground all the flights, and you can't
they were
fly.
stuck?
You cannot fly. Nobody can't fly. Any planes that were flying has to be landed somewhere. Can you imagine being on a plane, like say for instance you are flying from Tokyo and you want to go to New York, and suddenly came in the message and say no, you have to abort your flight, you have to land. Can you imagine that the flight is being diverted to places like, I don't know, Canada, or
And you'll never reach that.
you'll
place.
never reach. And I think FAA grounded all flights for a good week and a half, I believe. So yeah, so can you imagine these people, they have nowhere to go, so we have to be creative. So I sent them on Greyhound buses, which, technically for the American society, the B40s are the only one yang naik bus. But I think a lot, because in America, like the M40 is quite huge, so they can afford to take plane rides and rent cars, and they can crisscross the country very, very easily. Even rental cars were out, like sold out completely. Flying is out of the question. And I even hired a limo for a group of people to go on a road trip from Nashville back to Chicago.
What?
So these are
And they agreed?
And they agreed. They agreed.
How did you negotiate?
I mean, they negotiated amongst themselves. My only duty is to provide the driver. Here, you talk to these people. Any business related transactions, you deal with this person. And I was proud of that.
I'm sure there were a lot of emotional people that time.
Oh yes,
Yang mampu sekolah saya tidak mau dengar ni semua ni.
So if you recall that time, a lot of people they are very, very angry towards anyone that's Middle Eastern. I'm a Muslim, so they can't see the Muslim. They don't see me as Muslim, so I have that benefit of the doubt. But what happens to our interns or even those who are working who have that Middle Eastern features and who have that accent? Because it was like terrorism, if you recall at that time. So I could see that we have to pull these people at the back, because when you see their optics, look at them, it's like, oh, terrorist. And that was the narrative. Yes, it was valid at that time, because the country is under attack.
True.
You don't know who is in, who is out. And remember, those pilots who actually flew the plane into the buildings, they were using student visas. So immediately after that, George W. Bush, the then president, said, okay, we have to crack down on visas. And not only that, profiling was the buzzword back then. Anyone who is male between the ages of 18 and 49, if you are living in one of the so-called terrorist-sponsored countries, which sadly Malaysia is one of those countries because of Osama bin Laden. Apparently, I don't think he's ever been here, but the other connections and all that stuff. That sadly Malaysia is one of them. Did you know that back then, if you want to apply for a visa, especially if you're male, between 18 and 49, before you even put in your application, you have to put in a report, like a good conduct report, in addition to your application. And how do you do that? You have to go to the police station, and you have to ask the police station to do a report about you and inform that you are in good conduct. And then there's a checklist. You pernah guna weapons ka? You pernah train military ka? You pernah apa ka? So I tell you, it was.
Did you do that?
I had to, because at first I was. So we're talking about technical things here. In the States, you don't just go there as a tourist. You can still go there as an intern, which you will have to apply the J1 visa, which is a student exchange visa. That's the first visa that I applied.
Okay.
So then, sudah tamat tempoh, you're done. Then you have to do a switch. But because of that terrorism thing that happened, then we have to switch the visa from J1, which is the student exchange.
It becomes difficult.
Yeah, it becomes difficult. And I have to change to a student visa because I got a spot to study. So the new rule said that you have to go back to your home country, Malaysia, do your application here, and then you'll be able to get your visa.
What?
So it's gila lah. Memang gila. Like, can you imagine the hustle and bustle? Yes, exactly. Penat. You have to exit the country, come back here. You have to stay here sekejap, and then syukurlah dapat the visa because everything went well. So then I was able to study for the next 3 or 4 years, and then we have to do another switch to my professional visa, and that began my hotel career lah, my proper hotel career in the States. But back to the 9/11 fiasco, it wasn't a pretty day lah, and the days ahead were, shall we say, a little bit disturbing, if you will. You don't feel welcome as a foreigner. To compare George W. Bush punya masa dengan Donald Trump punya masa, I don't have the pleasure to be in the United States punya during Donald Trump punya masa. But if you recall Donald Trump, the first day that he took office, then immediately there was this refugee ban, and that was like, oh my God, that was so mind-blowing. I thought George W. Bush punya masa was
the Muslim ban gitu?
Yes, that was the Muslim ban. Yes. So, but George W. Bush was a little bit different. It was more systematic. But but we don't have Donald Trump to compare, right? Yeah. So back then it was like it was still like, oh my gosh, a person is really holding the rules like with an iron fist and all that. But we want to be good. We want to be good global citizens of the world. So kita main ikut saja lah. Go through the process, buat betul-betul, and then last, we're welcome. And I think America has always been welcoming of immigrants, and we just keep that with the good faith. And syukur lah, I was there for 11 years with different visas legally, and I am always appreciative, and I value the experience that I had in America, and I dare say that that has built me, my character, my values, and who I am.
Let's take a short break. Saya mau kasih reset because saya punya camera is 20 minutes.
Oh, okay. So you have to apa?
Yeah.
But 9/11, oh my gosh. Depressing times, I'll be honest with you. I was so young back then. 9/11 happened when I was 21 years old.
We same age.
Yeah. 1980 ka?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was in college that time.
Oh.
Second year. And we thought it was a movie.
Oh.
You know all these videos that because it was the start of I guess a faster version of internet back then. It was the threshold of things. MySpace, Friendster that time.
Is this recording?
It's recording.
Oh, yay. Okay.
And I remember that there were a lot of movies that was CGI.
Yes.
And then our Prime Minister Mahathir said, if they can make Avatar look so real, I mean, there's no problem of them doing this.
Yes.
And I was like, what kind of a statement is this?
I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. Yes.
But that was in our heads back when we saw the first video of the crash. We couldn't believe that it was happening. And we were walking to college that time, and we was like, we don't have handphone that time. Kalau ada pun mana ada gambar kan.
Yes.
So we were discussing like, is this really happening? And then it was on the news. It was in Kedai Mamak. It was in all the TVs that we were around with lah. And we realized that all these invisible propaganda that is always just on the street is now on TV. It's in radio, and we're like, it's really happening. This is like, it's now war is in our doorsteps. And yeah, like you said, it was stressful.
It was very stressful, and I recall that because the terrorists were of a certain person, a certain nationality, of a certain race,
that our country can really relate to.
Yes, absolutely. And the hate for Islam was like super bad at that time. You know, I was lucky that because in Nashville we are like terpencil. We're in the South. New York is somewhat upstate on the East Coast. If you want to fly, there's about 2 hours and 30 minutes by plane. Okay lah, between here and KL. But America's so big, right? But the one thing great about America is that every state is different. Every region is different. New Yorkers can be very blunt. That's something that sometimes I have to get used to. You know, like they'll just throw whatever on your face with no empathy whatsoever. You know, like you know, F you, la 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 la. Pernah sa satu kali naik taxi. I wasn't driving, I was a passenger. And this taxi driver was macam biasa lah on the street and all of that stuff. He wasn't speeding, he wasn't being erratic or anything like that. But I think he ran the zebra crossing. He was supposed to stop. But I think he didn't see anyone. And all of a sudden, this person decided to stop, decided to cross. And then obviously you're not supposed to run over the zebra crossing. You're supposed to stop, but maybe he saw that there wasn't anyone trying to cross, so he just went over. But in fact there was. Wow, he slammed his brakes, and all of a sudden this person was like, F you, didn't you see me, la 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 la. I was like, wow, this is New York, welcome to New York. Yeah. But in Nashville, in the South, people are much nicer, you know, like,
I'm walking here.
Yeah, but you know, in the South, things like that will never happen because in the South there are many highways. You'll go to downtown and there's less cars over there. At least during my time when I was in the States. But sometimes kan, if you buat salah ke apa kan, and then you mengaku you buat salah, and then the person that's listening to you kan, they'll be cakap, oh bless your heart.
Oh, terus?
Ya, terus yang macam kesian ni, yang macam
Are they
betul-betul ya.
the orang putih version of Sabahans?
You know, that's one of the things that I always thought, like Nashvillians can be Sabahans and Sabahans can be Nashvillians because we're always nice. And, we talk about etiquette as well. And a lot of soft skills are, macam ada banyak soft skills yang kena buat di Nashville. Berbanding dengan orang-orang yang macam di New York when things are so fast-paced over there. And Nashville's a little bit laid back. And people are taking their own sweet time. Politics will always be there, like in our place. Itu biasa sudah. People always have their opinions and things like that. But I think because of the conservatism that is in the South, because people in the South are very conservative, they're very, to themselves. But despite all of that, they're very kind. They're always very, very kind people. Empathy level is like darab 3,000, like. They're very welcoming, no matter who you are. You always hear the term rednecks, kan? And there are plenty of them over there. But they're kind people if you really, really get to know them. Yeah.
Is this where, Southern hospitality?
Yes, correct.
Kan?
Correct. The Southern hospitality is renowned. It means that you take care of the guests like they're your own, no matter where they come from. And I can relate to that because we Sabahans, if orang-orang luar, we will want to welcome them. We will want to help them. Ada kan yang baru TikTok viral baru-baru ni, a Taiwanese tourist, dia punya motosikal rosak or something like that. And then this person just immediately came to the rescue and helped and
got them on the truck.
Got them on the truck and brought them to the workshop,
betul.
got everything repaired. And the Taiwanese tourist, bless her heart, wanted to compensate the person who helped him. But because of dia punya keikhlasan and mau membantu, semangat ingin bantu ni, dia tidak mau terima. Ada tu dia turun naik, dia bagi curi-curi and then off she went. And then she's like, and the driver said, no, open the door, pass the 100 ringgit back. So that's the spirit that I'm able to like relate to, the Southern hospitality. Thank you for reminding me. That's always ingrained in my heart without me knowing. And then our ramah, our feeling of ramah, kind Sabahans that we are, despite all that we have to go through in our state. We have infrastructure issues that we need to face. We have it much. We are. Kita betul-betul macam orang terpinggir lah orang kata, berbanding dengan other states. But despite all of that, Egan, we are still kind people,
Betul.
That's something that we have to like dig really deep in ourselves versus people who are, sorry to say, kalau ada orang KL, orang Semenanjung di sini, I love you. My mom is from Pahang, okay? So I know what is it like to be a half Semenanjung punya orang. But notice people who live in big cities and all that they do is chop. Let's do it deadline after deadline after deadline. And they forget the soft skills. They forget the empathy. They forget the kesianness. They forget that you are a people, a person, I feel that sometimes as an MC, like especially lah, if we have organizers kan yang dari KL. Wow. Ini saya cakap fakta lah. Sorry to say if ada orang terasa ke apa, but this is a fact.
If someone starts a sentence with sorry to say, kau siap.
But I hope tiada orang yang pergi kasih kerat this thing and then post it on apa.
I hope not.
So I hope not lah. But this is a fact. Whenever there is someone who is not from Sabah coming into Sabah and they want to show who's boss and they think that we are not capable, you can really, really tell.
Yes.
From the words that they say, the tone of their voice, the way they bring themselves. I've seen it all in the past 9 years of me being an MC. Betul, it exists. So the only way to overcome that is to show that you're capable,
With a smile, with empathy, with love.
And with Southern hospitality too, even though we're not in the South.
Eastern.
Well, we are the land below the wind. So ada unsur South juga lah di sana kan. Wow, I love how interesting this conversation has become. I've never thought of that.
I'm reminded the time when our beloved influencer Duyung Darat did her thing,
Yes.
and it was viral, and everyone was pissed, and she apologized, and everyone terus yang okay lah, dia sudah minta maaf, okay lah tu, and we were like, the whole state forgave her. Like I was like, wow. Then you realize it's not an issue to begin with. I mean,
True.
yes,
True.
tourists can say that, oh, ini adat, ini blah 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 blah. But deep down, it's a matter of the heart. If you're willing to forgive, then
forgive.
yeah.
And you notice ka, this bulan 5 kan, banyak benda viral ba? The ngor-ngor lah, the undok ngadaus, like some of them say public speaking is not important lah, and then the Sabah Tanah Airku issue lah, and all of that stuff. We're not going to talk about the issues, but one thing that's interesting that I have noticed, I'm a very curious person, and I've always wondered, apa ba niat sebenarnya orang mau cakap, respond, marah, that sort of thing kan. And I realized that sometimes that we vent too much on social media unnecessarily. You know, we react
guess.
from the emotions without us taking a step back and say, perlukah saya respond? Perlukah saya share? Perlukah saya, participate in this conversation? And we see a lot of polemics in social media to a point where we need to learn media literacy. We need to understand that sometimes there are content out there that are humorous, that are maybe perhaps it's a parody, maybe, and Sabahans, we're always gullible like that. We always love to make fun of things because itu memang kita punya nature. It's something that I'm still learning as well, that we love to laugh at things. We love to not make things too serious because that's who we are. So
That's another thing I see. We love to laugh, and we laugh hard, but when we get angry,
and then we get,
regardless about whatever topics,
Yes.
we will be so angry.
and it's fine if you are macam orang cakap, if you're adamant, like you're passionate about the thing, tapi janganlah melebih-lebih sampai, again, back to soft skills. Yes, you can be argumentative constructively, but if it's at the expense of someone's feelings and at the expense of a good relationship, like it's where are we heading?
True.
And I think I read somewhere, I think this is a known fact, that when it comes to cyber trooping, or maybe perhaps when it comes to online bullying, which, by the way, there are people who abuse that word, okay? Which we will save for another story. Malaysia is at number 1.
Yeah, betul.
We
Oh my
are
God.
the
Not proud of
country
it.
that has the most cyber troopers, the most cyber bulliers, and I'm worried, that social media is a great place to be. Like I was on TikTok. I started to open my TikTok account just last year, and I'm just pleased with the engagement that we get over there. But sometimes mau berdebat dengan orang ni saya malas. Like they want to menang all the time. Okay lah, menang. If you Google Imam Shafi'i, there was a term in Malay that says, what is that? Saya mampu berdebat dengan orang yang berilmu, tetapi kalau saya mau berdebat dengan orang yang tiada ilmu, saya akan tetap kalah, something like that ka. So at the end of the day, when you read in between the lines of that quote, it's like, choose your battles lah.
True.
Choose your battles, because again, back to what we were talking about when it comes to emotional people, right? Like, sometimes we just have to take a step back, practice a little bit of mindfulness, tarik nafas, and ask ourselves, is this conversation really necessary online? And we have so many people just debating about stupid things online ba, Igan, and it frustrates me, and a lot of people, wow, karangan panjang lebar. I'm like, fine, go ahead and write a book for all that matter, but and it's fine, but sometimes we fail at arguing constructively. There's so many things that macam so many ugly things that we see on social media that it's like And I live on social media. That's where I get my work. That's where
True.
that I have to express myself professionally and as a person. And that's how I thrive in
It's a
KK.
love and hate relationship with all these platforms.
Yeah.
Kejap, saya kasih reset lagi. So fast?
I know. Has it been an hour already?
No, it's 35 minutes.
Oh, okay. Wow. I hope we're on a good landasan. We're on a good track with our conversation.
So
Okay, good.
This seems. What is my KPI? Is that if you don't really feel the time, then you're doing good.
Okay, good. I like that.
Yeah. Let's go back to you.
Okay.
Okay. I have a story to share first.
Oh, a story. Oh gosh.
So my mom, so she wanted to have some, I think extra money lah, and I guess some experience out of Malaysia. So she followed some friends, went to Australia, picked fruits, rare chickens, and then an Iranian who married a Kelantanese lady. So they got her in to look after the wife because the wife is sick, and she got paid a lot of money. And then she kind of like had this epiphany, some kind of a meditative kind of thought that I'm a migrant in this country that I'm trying to cari makan, and now she feels like, oh, this is how it feels to be like a Filipino, an Indonesian.
Yes.
So when she came back here and she's now Ketua Kampung, I mean, this is always ingrained in her, but I feel like she's acting a bit more towards having empathy towards migrants. How's your perspective when you were a migrant in a foreign country, and now that you're back here, what's your perspective on things?
So I've always been a minority even when I was in sekolah rendah and sekolah menengah. And the moment that I felt I was like very different was when they whisk you to kelas agama. So I was in Sacred Heart and also in La Salle, right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
back then, I don't know now, that there were more Christian or non-Muslims than the Muslims. So us Muslims during class agama and class moral, we have to go to a separate makeshift
Yeah.
corner, and that's where we do our class agama. So from that moment, I realized that, hey, even though my race is a majority, or my apa orang cakap, my agama is the majority for the whole country, but then you are in a minority in this school, both Sacred Heart and also La Salle, and that humbled me. And I'm very
yeah, it's a missionary school.
Yeah, it's a missionary school in La Salle. You know, there are more Christians over there, and yet because I think my dad used to go to La Salle and also Sacred Heart, so it's more of a generational thing, which I'm okay with.
Alumni.
An alumni, and I'm grateful for that. I'm grateful that I am not in some, schools with a lot of other well-to-do kids ka apa. I am just with orang biasa, and I'm fine with that. It's cool, and that has shaped me for who I am. So from that age, like you boleh rasa sudah, like, oh, beginilah rasa minority, which is fine.
I guess back in the days, it's not ingrained in our heads that, oh, ini jenis orang macam tu.
Yes.
We just,
Yeah.
it's just like that.
Yeah. So when I was overseas, even though you're in a foreign land, you are, so it's easy for me to assimilate because saya biasa sudah jadi minority, I don't think the experience will be the same for someone who always grow up thinking, oh, I am the majority, I am entitled, sorry to say, kalau ada orang yang
That's my mom.
Okay. Katalah, okay? The person is Melayu, Muslim. going overseas, of course, one of the first things that they will look for is halal, and then halal food. But you go to restaurants, they don't even know what halal is back then. You know, oh, kau Muslim, you're the terrorist. Get out of my place. You know, macam begitu. So being majority means you are set for a certain way of life, and being blessed here in our country that majority will always kena suap lah, ataupun apa-apa yang diperlukan akan tersedia. In Sabah, majority perhaps in certain districts, then you'll have a Roman Catholic population, and of course there will be churches. You go to certain places in our state where they have a large Muslim community, of course there will be a masjid, but there will also be a church, macam begitu kan. So memang tersedia sudah for all of that. Yes, but if you go overseas, everything there is equipped for the people there, not for migrants like us. You know, you want to talk about Malaysian food, wah, saya tidak ada. Yeah, I'm not. This is not London or some major cities where you can just go to a Malaysian restaurant. You know, there is no Malaysian restaurant in Nashville. I have to drive 4 hours to Atlanta to enjoy kari kepala ikan there.
Really?
Okay, yes.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So being overseas, yes, the migrant feeling memang ada. And like your mom, bila I balik sini, of course I will empathize towards people from countries that are typical of, or rather who are filling in the jobs here, like maids or laborers, or even in KL, waiters come from certain Southeast Asian countries, and even like, you know, from other places around the world. So of course there will always be that empathy that is ingrained in me. Can you imagine a person yang tidak pernah keluar negara,
Kan.
you know, and then we hear this a lot. Oh, someone from a certain country taking over the housekeeping punya jobs, ataupun the labor punya job, ataupun the but these are jobs that we don't even want.
Betul?
You know, and we as a country that needs to progress, we have no choice but to accept people from other country to take over these jobs.
You're doing us a favor.
Yes. So but that's another issue for another day. And then of course, when we talk about like bigger issues, and I don't want to dwell too much on it, like PTI, refugees, tiada papers, tiada kewarganegaraan, and then I think for a person that has been away and understands the different statuses, the feeling of being away from home, then of course when you're here, kita memang automatic kesian siapa-siapa. Oh, tidak payah cakap lah, orang semenanjung datang sini pun with no family whatsoever pun kami kesian. You know, people who perhaps, right or wrong, people who come to our country with no papers and they're away from family ke apa-apa, like mencari rezeki ke apa, it's the same plight that the people in America face with the immigrants who have to cross the border, people from Mexico, Nicaragua, all these South American countries, if you will. I work with them. We don't have to disclose how they earned their documents or social security numbers, that sort of thing. That's I don't want to disclose that, but I am with them.
Do the locals pigeonhole migrants there? Oh, ini datang buat kacau ni. Oh, yang ini ada yang bagus, ada yang tidak.
Yes. Especially during post 9/11 days, especially during George W. Bush days. Get her done. That's the term that is like viral at that time. This was before TikTok. Going to Iraq to smoke out all the terrorists back then. That became a term that we become scared as migrants. It's like, wow, if this is what you're doing to terrorists that you don't even know, what happens to us who are already in this land? Like, I don't have to worry lah because I am Asian, I don't look like a terrorist, I'm okay. But I kesian lah siapa-siapa yang Middle Eastern or who are Middle Eastern Americans for that matter, who call America home, but they have those features. Diorang tetap wujud, So bikin panas lah baigan, And then Barack Obama came, 2008. That's when he really decided to pass the olive branch to the Muslim world. If you notice, he came to Malaysia twice. He was supposed to come for a third one, if I'm not mistaken, but back then the US government ada shut down because tidak cukup budget or something like that. So John Kerry, the then minister, the foreign minister, state minister back then, came down. I was at the entrepreneurship summit back in 2012, 13, something like that.
You get to meet them?
No, saya duduk de jauh-jauh. Saya nampak Dato Sri Najib, Rosma Mansur. So dari jauh saja lah nampak. And then John Kerry was there doing the speech on behalf of the President Biden. Kalau tidak boleh juga, yeah, good enough. So there was like a little piece of home, if you will. So yeah. But yeah, 2008 was when, and for the full 8 years that Barack Obama was president, I think he really did a lot of work to mend the relationships between America and the Muslim world. If you notice, he went to Turkey, he went to Malaysia, he went to Indonesia, and Morocco, all these Muslim countries, and trying to send out a signal that, hey.
Were you still there when Barack Obama was?
I was, yes.
Okay.
I was there during his inauguration. I saw it on TV. It was absolutely historic because he was the first, African American. Remember his tagline, change. So that became like the buzzword back then, that change is here. Indeed, he changed a lot of things. He made healthcare accessible to a lot of people. Of course, the other side didn't like it and all that. He did a lot of things. But yeah, that's subjective as well. So
how did it feel like when you had to come home? I heard your story from JJL show, which is a very good one. I don't know why you stopped, Julian.
What did I say in that show? I totally forgot.
You got a phone call from home.
Yes.
And
yes.
you need to jaga kedai or something like that.
Yes.
How was that?
Well, you have to put yourself in my shoes. I was there for like 10 plus years already. And alive.
Were you comfortable?
I was comfortable. I loved my job. I really did, despite the economic bubble that was happening back then. And then I got the call and I said, okay, gotta come home. We got this family project that requires someone to help lead and all of that stuff. That was what my dad said back then. And obviously I said no at first. I was like, no lah, why am I coming back to Malaysia? When things are so good for me in the States. I was very close to getting my green card. My employer was ready to sponsor it. We were ready to sit down to do the paperwork bah. Sampai begitu. That was how I was valued, and it really felt really good. Because when you pour your heart into doing something that you really love, and people notice it and people want to support you, and that's when I really felt valued. But then sadly we have to cut short that part of the American dream. So here I am. So maybe you ask,
when you came back.
Apa tu?
Were you bitter when you came back?
Bitter is not the right word. Regret even is not the right word. Did I make the right decision, I think would be the better question. I don't know, Egan. And believe me, ramai orang yang tanya ni soalan, Ben, kau lama sudah ba di US, kenapa kau tidak stay di sana saja? Memang ada niat mau stay, but because of family, and that's one of the Asian values that we hold so dear, is that we want to be close to family. We mau jaga keluarga, that sort of thing. So in the name of family lah, that's why I'm home. Bukan di KL, bukan di Semenanjung, but here in Sabah. Truthfully lah, if you were to ask me, did I regret it with all that's happening now? No. I'm happy. I'm happy with all the things that are happening right now, with my career, with my businesses. But I don't want to appear like I am floating in the air. I still have so much to learn. I still have so many things I want to do. I'm still in chapter 1 in my life, even though I'm 44. And I know like there's so many things ahead of me.
Don't look 44, dude.
Ada orang panggil saya uncle, okay? And that's for another TikTok story, man. But I always believe that the universe has plans for you. Allah has plans for you. God has plans for you. You know, and sometimes it's either you want to ride the wave or you want to go against the grain. And I've decided for a very, very long time that with ikhtiar, with usaha, and a good purpose and niat, that the waves are there to protect you. So you just ikut saja lah. Ikut saja. But jangan ikut and jadi orang bodoh. You know, I have a little story. Dulu kan Asia, diorang ada ni airport terminal 2, right? So, I was seated in the plane. We were going to KL ba masa tu. And remember, like, there will be a stewardess and say, oh, okay, siapa-siapa yang naik AK, whatever, whether Kuala Lumpur, follow me. And dia angkat tangan. And you ikut dia lah pergi the plane. So I was seated already. And then last tiba-tiba, we were about to close the door. And then all of a sudden, there was this one guy who seemed so flustered. And he was trying to find a seat. And then dia marah-marah to the person because he said, that's my seat. Looking at the boarding pass and then nampak the number. It was really dia punya seat. And then the stewardess came and said, can I please take a look at your boarding pass? Tengok. Terus dia tengok muka dia. Sir, this is not your plane. You're going to Tawau. Your plane is next door. So, probably dia main ikut saja. Yeah, dia main ikut saja. So I am going to follow the universe, but that comes with a lot of knowledge, trust, and most importantly, purpose. Don't just main ikut saja because someone told you so, or you're just following the trend. A lot of people like to just jump on the bandwagon, but if you have that purpose and you're trusting of the waves, then by all means go. And that's what I'm doing now. And syukur, alhamdulillah, with berkat doa my mom and everybody that loves whatever that I'm doing, like whatever that I'm doing is for them, for God, for Allah, for whatever this world is wanting me to do. So
I like your story, man. You mentioned in the this is fast forward Juara Gym. You mentioned in the interview with Julian,
Julian should be paid some apa
Julian,
ni
later I belanja you makan.
That was an impromptu interview that I did with Julian, and
Really?
I'm very, very appreciative.
Was it
of
scripted?
that. Yeah. No, it wasn't.
It was so smooth, like Tennessee whiskey.
Yeah. I need to rewatch that interview. But the only part that I takut was the part that I cried when I was.
Oh, that was the cherry.
Yeah, I was reminiscing about my idol back then. Yeah.
I have a question for that later.
Yeah.
You mentioned your dad said there's not a room for two tigers.
Oh yeah. Oh shit.
But I really I feel that's a very strong statement because all due respects to your dad, he's in politics, Malaysian politics.
Yes.
And the tiger seems to be a very perfect metaphor. But you, in the other hand, you mentioned soft skills, concierge, handling 9/11 people in the hotel. So you have a certain skill, not of a tiger, but the resilience, the semangat is very strong, but in a way that is, I guess, diplomatic. I guess it's packaged in a way that is so heartwarming that people don't really see your strength. They see you as someone lovable, as someone that they can work with, but you're strong. There's a tiger in you. Do you see that? I mean,
all my ex staff hates me. I never get birthday wishes from them and all of that stuff. I think when I
That's a
ran,
different kind of tiger.
there's a different side of me, you know. And when you run businesses, you can ask any entrepreneurs out there that when we run businesses, we have to hold the fort tight. You know, there's a certain standard that you have to portray, you have to do. So of course, as a person before, as a hotelier running a 5-star department, housekeeping for that matter, a department that gets complained a lot if there's a hair on the floor or in the bathroom or a stain here or apa, and who's the first person that gets beaten up? Not literally, but
Yeah.
it's always the housekeeping manager. So I've learned to accept a lot of criticism, small and big, and that has built like kebal sudah ni hati. Seriously, before I'll be like so terlampau lembut yang macam people are unhappy with me, that sort of thing. So yeah, so but resilience has played a huge role in terms of shaping who I am. We have to be strong, despite the challenges, despite everything that's going on with one's life. So yeah, I hope that answers your question.
Yes. I want to relate this to Mahathir Lokman, because when he came in the picture, okay, this is like a long process until Mahathir Lokman came in the picture. But during all these time and me stalking your social media, it seems that when you were doing MCing and you finding this mentor in Mahathir, it was, you're a changed person. Can I say that? You found, perhaps, I don't know, what is this? Your calling? What is MCing to you? Because it seems like you're in a very different threshold in your life.
MCing is a place where I cari makan. And I always believe in doing things excellently. Not perfectly, because nothing's perfect, but I think we all should strive for excellence. Doesn't matter, you are a tukang sapu ka, tukang kasih bersih bilik ka, as I was, tukang kasih bersih tandas, as I was, being at the front desk, as I was. Whatever pursuits that you have, it has to have that excellence. So, as an MC, right? It's not just main cakap-cakap saja with a microphone, And sadly, we are doing our best. Sadly, a lot of people perceive the job as, here, a microphone. Can you just talk? And like I said, I don't like to do the small talks. I like my words to be rehearsed, to be planned.
Concise, do you say?
Sometimes kan kalau you cakap concise kan atau orang cakap concise means it's rigid, and I don't want it to be like that. I've learned I've learned now to be very flexible. Dulu I marah tu kalau ada event organizer, kenapa ba kau kasi tukar-tukar ini atur cara. But once you learn more about events, once you learn more about the people who are handling, and it took me 9 years to realize that, then I become more flexible.
Wow.
Empathy comes in. Sampai to a point yang macam, atur cara belum siap lagi walaupun 24 jam. It's okay. It's like me taking a Xanax, even though I'm not medicated with Xanax, but it's like, okay. Dulu saya takut. I think it's like how do you say? It's like your like a mechanism to protect yourself, and that's why you marah-marah, that sort of thing. But now like you biasa sudah. And maybe because the people that are around me now are very supportive of the work that I do, and that's because we put in the emphasis of doing things with excellence at the beginning.
Or you're in your 40s.
That too, Egan. That too. I just had this conversation with Kai the other day, or with Tammy, who is now my special assistant. Like, remember in our 20s, we are always like eager to do things, like, mari, jom. 30s is like, oh my god, age is kicking in, sakit sana, sakit sini, we are not as strong as what we were before. Now we're in our 40s, and baru-baru ni, I baru naik Gunung Kinabalu, tidak sampai puncak lah, but sampai sayat-sayat saja, and I'm like, and again, back to the beginning of our conversation, I've not been working out for the past 6-7 months, okay? So my fitness level is not as great as before. Look at my kurusness.
Exhibit A.
Exhibit A, you know. So to write on what you said about age, that played a role too. It really, really did. I think with age, you see more people, you meet more people, you've been in more situations. You know, that you kind of pick and choose which battles you wanna pick, and you wanna win. You know, so yang macam, okay lah, it's okay lah. So I become like a little bit
God.
like, I don't want to fight this anymore. Okay lah, it's okay. Come what may, c'est la vie, and que sera sera. You know, so. I don't know. You brought up a very good point about the age. It could be the age. And that's why I'm scared, because I tidak mau kena panggil uncle. Seriously, I don't.
I have a story to share.
Sure.
We were in Miri for a week for this, they call it Unconference and Art Festival. So
The poster. Yes, I saw that.
Oh, yeah.
You were
that
in
one.
blue.
I was
I was like, Egan, this is not you. You're always in colors and all that, and suddenly you are blue with your friends in that poster.
Betul? And that event made me realize, I guess because I'm also 4, that I shouldn't take myself too seriously. So in that 1 week, I was the tuai rumah for the Sabah house. And I had to sing, I had to mengajat, I had to do a few presentations that is impromptu, and I butchered almost every part of it. But when it was reviewed, when we had our postmortem, the messages went through. And I was thinking to myself that, yes, I embarrassed myself. Yes, I sang badly for Sabahan. That is like, what? And I don't want to even mention the dancing. Oh my god. It's in social media, thanks to the gang. And then I realized everyone were having fun. And it was that moment that we bonded, networking became nicer, and I shouldn't think about it too much.
Isn't it beautiful when you come to a point in your life when you say and you think deep down in your heart, and you said, I have nothing to lose.
Kan? Yes.
When you have nothing to lose, you let loose.
Yeah.
And what will be will be. Que sera, sera. And to go to Sarawak and to portray the culture as a Bornean, as a fellow Bornean, and to let loose with your fellow Borneans, it's like beginilah kita. The spirit of togetherness. There's tidak payah lah ba mo telampau serious, that sort of thing, you know. And like I'll share this one story during the pandemic. Kim Tek Chong, the largest supplier of things, and they take care of the brands, and that's why we get items in the supermarket. So the boss, Dr. Dexter, decided to bring me as one of the influencers to, I hate that word, to market or take a slot.
Embrace it.
Oh God. And again, nothing to lose, kan? In the spirit of nothing to lose. And for 48 hours after Christmas, they were just doing a sale, like online, that sort of thing. They scored like 1 million ringgit of sales in over 2 days. It was quite impressive. I was proud to be part of that, and just doing it for fun. And it was hujung tahun, and I told myself, I have nothing to lose if I'm gonna be part of this program. And why did I say that? Because Dr. Dexter said, Ben, you have a slot, and guess what? You're going to sell shampoo.
Kapalot. Why did he put you in that spot?
So it was a 9 o'clock or a 10 o'clock spot selling shampoo, and I'm like, Dato, Back then dia belum datuk lagi lah. He was bro. I call him bro. Dia dapat datuk sudah. He's a great guy. Does a lot for Sabah, and he is quite well known in the pedalaman. But at that moment I was like, bro, will your customers even trust a person like me who is botak and who's gonna sell shampoo? And sometimes you have to realize that sometimes there are times that people put faith and trust in you, and they see your ability. And sometimes, again, back to riding the waves, because the universe is already planned and you should just ride the wave, even though you say no. And he was like, bro, just do it because I believe in you. You can sell shampoo because you're Ben Uzair ba, dia cakap.
Wow.
I was like, but sometimes kan kita fikir yang kita tidak boleh buat tu benda because we have this, I don't know, you want to call it like you're inferior ka, you are, what is that, imposter syndrome ka, apakah. So I was like, for one good morning before that event, I had to research about micellar shampoo, whatever that means. Because the product was some micellar thing, and I'm like, I never used shampoo since I was 33. And now, like, what on earth is a micellar shampoo? And everything is micellar. And apparently micellar means it is more hydrating than water. That it's supposed to soak into your scalp, or it will hydrate your scalp much faster than water. All that nonsense. I don't know if it's real or not. Yeah. So being me, the person who is always very informative on radio, I never do Raja Lawak punya nonsense and things like that. I'm never a funny person. Leave it to Farish. My ex-boss Farish is always a very funny person. God love him. But I was like, okay lah, I'm just gonna say things that are informative about micellar and all of that stuff. I don't know, maybe that clip is still deep in the internet somewhere. But apparently we sold shampoo that night by a salesperson who is botak. And we contributed towards closing that $1 million sale. And I was like,
1 million?
yeah, well, we didn't sell 1 million ringgit of shampoo lah, but the overall sale was 1 million, so we actually closed that. So it was like, okay, but at that moment kan, it's like, boleh, we can do this, we can make it happen, and we can do or die, let's sell shampoo. I have nothing to lose, I said. The new year is coming. I had a great year. What I you know, I'm okay with it, you know. But back to what we were saying, if our heart says, is there anything that we can lose from doing this job, or being kind, or exuding southern hospitality or soft skills, does it cost anything? Do we lose our life to be kind to someone? Can we just be kinder and restrained? Sometimes we have to restrain ourselves from putting stuff on social media or typing things that are unnecessary. Yeah, sometimes maybe kita tersasul cakap sesuatu and all of that stuff, but it takes a lot of mindfulness to practice mindfulness to be able to macam be kind to people. And we have to ask ourselves, do we have anything to lose here? You know?
Let's go to the botak topic. I'm sorry, I need to go there.
It's fine.
You are a person of thresholds dari US, datang balik sini from gym pergi, I don't know,
Wow, nobody has ever
The
described me as a person with thresholds.
the jumps that you do is huge. MC, radio, these are things that I don't think people in the right mind would cross over to all these. Jauh ba? Okay. Maybe I'm seeing the answers. I just want to ask you. So, okay, you once had hair.
Yes.
How? Because, okay, I see a lot of Sabahans yang dye mesti ada rambut.
Oh.
But you, I mean, you're not I'm being realistic. You're not a unique case, but the way you think, I want to know how do you do it in your mind?
Oh.
Like, how do you decide, like, on this day I'm just gonna shave this off? Like, how do you decide this? This is important.
So on my 33rd birthday, after realizing for a good few years that my hair was thinning. And I think in my family, nobody has hair issues except for my late grandfather. All my cousins, rambut-rambut lebat, handsome semua. My dad has great hair. My mom has great hair. Even all my sisters pun okay juga. I'm the only one, yang macam rambut botak, which echoes and in concert with my late grandfather. So on my 33rd birthday, I said, sudah-sudahlah itu. Let's just shave and be done with it. Apalagi yang boleh diselamatkan. Yes, I can waste money and do all these hair transplants and, go and do treatments and whatnot. But that's another problem that I have to carry. So macam, and at that moment I was like, hidup juga saya batera rambut. So at that moment I realized this very important phrase that in life there are only two things: the things that you can control and the things that you can't. I can't control my growth of my hair anymore, no matter how much you put effort to it. Genetics plays a role. I don't want to waste time with putting tonics and apa. I pernah letak satu kali, like in denial lah. My hairdresser back then, Ben juga nama dia. Masih dia punya kedai wujud di Putatan. That's where I live. There's this powder that he puts on my hair just to kasih blanket that that bald spot. Yeah, I look fine. But can you imagine that you have to go and mandi and then the thing, like, it dissolves in water, and then when you shower, the water will become black and all of that stuff, and then you have to like betul-betul kasi shampoo dia. That's additional 10 minutes in the shower or 15.
Why do you punish yourself?
Yeah,
like that?
why? Exactly. So then at that particular age, from 32 turning to 33, I said, you know what? Can we not sweat the things that we cannot change, and let's just focus on the things that we can change? And the thing that I can change at that moment was my happiness, my perception towards being bald. Kesian lah, sudah jadi botak. This is what happens when you pergi olo-olo orang botak masa kau muda kan, kau dapat macam begini. Or maybe it's the salt, I don't know. Or maybe the genetics. So it's just a realization that I have. And why do we waste time? Kenapa kita mau buang masa, mau buang tenaga dengan benda yang kita tidak boleh ubah? Why? So again, riding the wave, trusting the universe, trusting him, trusting the bigger being up there, that it's going to lead you to somewhere bigger. One door closes, two doors will open, inshallah, for sure. And me being bald became my personal branding.
Yeah.
Ben Uzair is never with hair.
Betul.
He will always be botak. I'm blessed that there are people who would listen to me. Oh, itu suara si Ben. Nampak saja dia punya muka, immediately would know who I am. Can you imagine if it were me with rambut? And I'll be just like everybody else. So I don't know. I think it's just God's plan that I am this way. And if this has brought risky, then by all means, let's just keep the image as it is. And alhamdulillah, shukur, and I'm very thankful that this look has been my signature for the past, more than 10 years now.
My next question is so relatable to this answer. When I say, why do you punish yourself like this? You being bald is actually you self-loving yourself.
Yes.
You want to quit all this madness, and you just want to, I guess, heal.
Yes.
And I love your Instagram postings of this healing resort hopping, fine dining. It feels, what I love about this posting is I feel included. I don't know how you do it, but it's like your audience is there with you. It feels so inviting. And I really jealous, borderline. when you have a big event and you're tired and you say, okay, it's time to relax, and there you are in a balcony, in a bathtub somewhere, and I'm like, why can't I love myself that way? And yeah, well, what's your take on this? I mean, it seems so rewarding to be Ben Uzair.
There's so many things that I want to say with this. So let's kupas satu-satu. The self-love. I am a huge believer of rewarding oneself when a victory has been made. And a victory can come in littlest of things. emceeing an event and dapat pujian daripada the organizers. That's a victory. Conquering the week, doing back-to-back events or doing a few events at your best, and you get good feedback and you felt good about it. That's rewarding. That's a victory, and it should be rewarded, you know. Now, rewarding doesn't have to be something that's expensive. It could be a day off. I reward myself with the day off. And there are times when I'm lucky when the budget allows, and back then room rates are much, much lower than what they are right now. And we are able to extend that one night or that late checkout where I'm able to perhaps soak in the bathtub at Le Meridian, as you saw. And we're very lucky that we have places around KK that have such gorgeous views and great experiences. And that's one of the things that I want to highlight in my social media. I'm glad that you said that you felt included, and that is saya puas hati sudah, because that has always been my niat. When I post stuff on social media, I want my audience to be immersed with whatever that I posted.
Oh, you know why? You know why I feel like that? Because you don't say, oh, the room rates here is begini mahal. You don't mention that, oh, this is for these kind of people.
Yeah, no.
It feels like the way you show it is like, you can afford this too. I get that feeling.
Yeah. Because if we want to talk about money, we want to talk about rates, then we are already talking about segregation, you know, because of people, we have certain budgets and all of that stuff. And I never want to be like that. I want people, when they look at a post, if I'm having fun, that they will be inspired and say, I want to be like Ben, that he or she is able to reward him or herself to be on a balcony, to soak in, enjoy that one healing moment, if you will, you know. I have a friend who is a financial advisor, and she advised me, Tantini, if you're watching, I love your quote until this very day. And that's another person you should invite. Tantini, come in. She said that things are never expensive, and you can always afford anything if your heart desires. The question is, how are you going to work hardly ka, smartly ka, to attain whatever that you wish? You want to earn a house, or you want to earn a car, you want to earn that expensive watch, your dream something. But if we already say, Allah, it's expensive, it's out of my budget, then we are denying ourselves of that particular thing that we want to. This might sound very materialistic, but then again, it's like your mentality. If you really want something, you would, where there's a will, there's a way. You'll work for it. So you have to like pushing your ayat. It's also something I teach in public speaking, where, you know, if you're scared, don't feel like people are going to judge you. You have to pushing and say, people want to listen to me, and I have something important to say. So with money, right, and Tantini is a great person who can advise on that, and any other person that is. But the moment you say, Allah, it's expensive, immediately you're saying, oh, I cannot. But if you kasi pushing and say, hey, I can afford that if I can save, I can work harder, or let me, you know, do something so that I'm able to attain that. So and back then, I do a lot of postings on social media because I'm a hotel person, and we're very lucky because the tourists belum lagi masuk, and room rates were very, very low, that some people can afford staycations. But we're happy that we have various boutique hotels here, 5-star resorts, catering to different budgets of individuals, and staycation was the buzzword back then too, kan? So that's the goal. I want people to, number one, be aware that there is such experience like that. Number two, I want people to feel like they are on a journey with me. You know, it's not to brag, it's not to minta puji ke apa-apa, but I want them to feel inspired that they can work towards experiencing
Honestly,
this.
I don't feel like you minta puji. Some influencers, I feel like very minta puji, but not you.
Influencer is another. We're not going to talk about influencers. No. It's a different
I don't think
world.
we have time.
No. Okay.
We are past 1 hour and 15 minutes.
Oh gosh. We better close this. I hope you got good nuggets from this.
I think all of the points we discussed is TikTok worthy. You mentioned TN50. Not the whole TN50 thing, but there was a point there when you mentioned you worked with children. I find it fascinating, from a DJ, a presenter, radio presenter, who talks and express, and now you're facing another human species yang berlainan. Because I have kids, and for you to work with kids, I know it's a different genre.
That's why I don't have kids. I'll play with
Fair
other.
enough.
I'll play with other kids, other parents or other adults punya children. My family used to own a kindergarten, and I love working with them. But it's like, it's like being that great uncle. The niece or nephew comes to you, and then you send them back to the parents after that when you're done. So yeah.
You're there for the pleasure.
Exactly.
Not for the pressure.
No. So I feel for you. But then again, working with children is very, very important, because you're molding the future leaders of this country.
True.
Like, if we're already sick and tired with whatever that's happening in our country, in our state right now, then, and I hear a lot of parents say, we need to do things macam, whatever that I'm doing today is because of my children, So go ahead and do it. Go ahead and be the change that you want to see. Because kalau kita main ikut saja and tunggu saja, nothing happens, then sampai bila-bila pun beginilah kita. And at the end of the day, it's how we mold our children. How do we, make them understand about what's happening and all of that. So it's I don't envy your role as a parent.
But how was your experience with these kids? I mean, being Ben Uzair, working with these children, what did you get from them? I mean, I know we think differently. I just want to know what.
So I visited many schools throughout my career as an MC and radio announcer and all of that stuff. I've been to Sekolah Rendah in the city and also in Pedalaman, even at Pulau Gaya. And I can tell you off the bat right now, I'm very hopeful of our children, of our students, of the youth of our country. They're so articulate. They're so they have so much to look forward to. I takut that our leaders are failing them, or sometimes we as Sabahans or we as Malaysians are failing them, despite all the challenges that we have to go through. I'm hopeful for them. I really, really am. I'm hoping that they are given the opportunity to do amazing things. Baru-baru ni dapat SPM. A lot of people that I know got very good results. And you just have to, the next thing that comes to mind is, how can I help? How can I help as a Sabahan or as a Malaysian so that they can go further? If it's not monetary, like networks, the networks that we have, mau dapat scholarship ke apa. Ini bukan kabel, but it's like how can we permudah untuk dia dapat scholarship ke, isi kekosongan di university ke apa, mana-mana saja, you know, like how are we able to use our clout as a public figure, or perhaps as a person that is respected in society, and you are able to macam assist these people to go further. So I hope that people have that spirit, that you know, we hear a lot of times macam tidak dapat masuk university pasal tidak ada kuota lah, bukan bumi putra lah, apalah, and I'm tired of listening to it, and we'll save that for another conversation. But what can we do for our youths? What can we facilitate so that they are able to go far? It can be jobs, it can be education opportunities, it can be so many things. So I'll always put that in mind. Or like me at the gym, what can we do as an entrepreneur so that we're able to have to create not just jobs but a career for people, you know, like they earn a comfortable wage. We as an employer who is responsible, bayarlah KWSP, bayarlah SOCSO and all of that stuff, but at the same time not making them forget about the responsibilities of the job too. So it takes, entrepreneurs need to be leaders. We Sabahans need to be leaders in our own ways. Influencers even, you know. We don't have to be orang besar. We don't have to be pangkat tinggi. We just have to be orang biasa. And what can we do so that we facilitate things? Bantu-membantu, collaborate, help each other, be kind. These are values that I think all of us need to continue. And we don't have to depend on leaders to make things happen. We can make things happen. Question is how. So
Wow.
I'll leave it there.
This triggered me to ask another question, which is, I promise you, the last one.
I thought we're just now starting.
Itulah. I always have this idea in my head when I think of you. There's always this comparison to you and your father. I'm not sure why, but I feel like you guys are from different house of thoughts. Okay, so he's a politician. He is a respected man. He quote a tiger, and knowing the Malaysian political scene, I feel like he delegates. He has followers. He has people who runs for him. But you mentioned in the interview with Julian, you have people. These are your words. You have people who work together with you. The word together there is very strong, and it shows. I don't know why, but you are your own. You're like your dad, but in a different way. You're a leader, but you include your people. You don't call them. They work under me. No, because you mentioned you were a supervisor. But when you mention them, they work together with you, and I find it very.
I mean that.
Can you explain that?
I mean that. I always believe in collaboration. I always believe in teamwork. Ben Uzair will never be Ben Uzair without the people around me, surrounding me, the love and the people who work together with me. People like Kai, he's my partner, he is now my manager, and a lot of ups and downs that I have been through, he was there. You know, when I have issues with work or family, he becomes my punching bag, the person who pats me on the back and say, you can do this, you know. He's the person who lifts me when I'm down. My gym that I have right now, it will never be a center for people to work out. It will never be a place that the community can come and be their best self and create their best self without my team. We have Edward, who's who was my intern once upon a time and now my business partner, and we run the place together. You know, we have John, the team leader, whom I don't hammer him with a lot of criticism like I used to before. Not John, but in Juara Gym 1.0, which is the one that I ran with an Iron Fist before. But now I give my staff, or my team rather, I don't like to call my team staff because we work together. My team, and I gave John a lot of empowerment. You know, I think these days we need to hire people that are smarter than us. We need people who are encouraged to do more things, and they are better than us. And when we are able to collaborate and susun everything, and that's how we make things happen. Kalau kita ingat kita sentiasa pandai saja, then we're going to overload ourselves. The ego will be there.
Yes.
And you're going to just minta puji and show to the world and saya lah ini. I don't like that. I want to show to people that if you want to make things happen, you got to collaborate. You got to hold people's hands and huddle up and say, let's do this together. Let's make things happen together. The spirit of collaboration is something that we need to see more of in Sabah. You know, we want to see, you know, like recently or this past 5-10 years kan, you nampak macam social media kan, company A X company B macam begitu. That X, it's not an X factor. It's not an X whatever, but it's like, how are we going to begini and make things happen together?
I didn't see it that
you know?
way.
This is just my interpretation, but to me, like, the X will never be like it's just a cross, but it's for you to, like, how can you tarik tangan or tarik jari together and make things happen together? And can you imagine if more and more people are doing this, and we can change the world, we can do so many wonderful things. So I will always love the word we.
Yeah.
You know, susah mo cakap I without saying we, because kalau kita cakap I saja, then you terapung-apung di awan lah, for what? You know. So, but the spirit of collaboration should always be there, and that has shaped my career, that has shaped my thinking, and the current success that I hope to teruskan, to continue, is because of the people around me. Like Mia Palencia's song for the 2017 SEA Games in KL, the many hands, you know. So the hands can touch you, the hands can tadah for doa, that sort of thing. The hands can even hurt you. So let's hope that there will be many hands that will support. I hope to continue the good work that I do. I have so much to give. I want to continue to contribute. And the only way that I'm able to contribute is to have that many hands who can lift me, support me, trust me, and inshallah, God willing, that if for as long as I'm here, Ben Uzair will always be a person that contributes and give back.
Best. Okay. Last question to gulung everything.
Oh, I think 2 kali sudah ya cakap last question.
This one habis sudah ni. Okay. Threshold upon threshold upon threshold. What now, Ben? After this, we
Egan, that's a good question. That's a good question. For all the things that I am doing now, the only niat, purpose, nawaitu is to contribute. What can we do better for Sabah? What can we do better for our country? How can my presence better a certain condition ka, or in things that are technical in the hospitality industry or in events for that matter. So I'm lucky, syukur, alhamdulillah, that all the work that I've been doing is all related to voice. MCing, radio, broadcasting, training now. That's I recently got certified to be a trainer with HRD Corp, and that has brought me to mountains. Syukur. What next, you ask? I don't know. Riding the wave, continue to ride the wave with a lot of prayers, hope, doing things with excellence always. A lot of people trust me. That's a responsibility. I don't want to disappoint anyone who puts faith in me, and I will always continue to do good work. That I can promise you. This is the recording. If I ever am caught doing really, really bad things, then I have betrayed individuals, then I don't want to ever be in that spot. But my niat purpose has always been to contribute, to give back. That's why I love doing talks to students or touching the hearts and moving lives of people who want to be better. There are many people who want to be better. They just need to look up to someone. Tidaklah saya mau temberang cakap, oh, look up to me. No. I, as a person with a lot of experience, I just want to share them. And hopefully whatever that I shared would be of inspiration to people, because I think all of us during these challenging times, we need that little nudge. We need that little reminder that we can do it. Sometimes we think that, because of certain situations or certain certain conditions that we are not able to do it. But if we ask ourselves deep down in our hearts that if we want to do something, we will find a way to do it. Get that better job, get that better whatever materialistic item that we have. Look for a partner or mau kawin or whatever pursuits in life. Where there's a will, there's a way. We will always find ways to do it. Sometimes we are in a mode of cari makan, and I hope that if we cari makan in this great land of ours that has provided us, that we are able to exude excellence, provide excellence, show excellence, and that we will always do things at our best. And if we pursue that, many doors will open, many eyes will notice, and that will open more opportunities for us to create our best selves and further make things happen. So to answer your question, what is next? We'll see. I'm riding the wave, and we'll see where it goes. And I'm there. You're laughing, man. I don't like it when you laugh like
No,
that.
I just feel. No, I puas hati. I have no more questions. I'm happy with this interview. I'm inspired. I feel like I need to pay you.
No, don't.
No,
I'm happy to be
because
here.
this is so valuable. I'm gonna charge people. Ben, thank you. It has been a very long time to wait to arrange this interview with you. Finally, it happened, and I'm happy. I didn't really think what was gonna be the outcome, and it's I guess if I even wanted to think about what is the outcome, this is like more than what I can think of. And I thank you for that.
Thank you
I
for
really
inviting.
appreciate your presence here. I'm just sad that Ate and Ahmad couldn't be here. This has been a Sip show, and I couldn't thank you enough. This is Ben Uzair in the studio with us. Also, we like to thank Ilan, BMH Dokumentasi, Kotak K Art Gallery for letting us tumpang this place to shoot this. And happy lah. We'll see you in the next episode.
This is Sip.
You know where to look for Ben. I mean, he's everywhere. Ciao. Thank you.
See you. Have a great day.